is Ukraine. We should rescind all funding and financing, pull out all military support.
What they do?
And we should...
Look at his face here. He gets really upset at the booze.
And financing, pull out all military support.
Sexuals, pansexuals, bisexuals. Basically, pansexuals in waiting.
President Trump took office. He's been attacking the establishment press harder than Elon's face by his own kids. And now the Trump administration is welcoming a crop of new media reporters to the White House. In fact, they're not just replacing old media, they're great replacing them.
Starting today, this seat in the front of the room, which is usually occupied by the press secretary's staff, will be called the new media seat. We have an individual in our new media seat today. His name is Tim Pool.
Okay, all right. Lovely to meet you, Tim Pool, a YouTuber and I'm assuming former GameStop employee. Now,
he's broken containment. He's finally on fucking mainstream television as the butt of the jokes on The Daily Show. Man, I mean, hey, congrats, Tim. It took a long time to get here, but you made it.
His head might be cold, but he's in the hot seat. Let's hear him hold this administration's feet to the fire.
Many of the news organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax. I'm wondering if you could comment on that unprofessional behavior.
Wow. Wow. Now that's a great question. Everyone in this room sucks. Do you care to comment? Okay, so the Trump administration has brought in the perfect weapon. Someone who can attack the media from within the media. He's like a wolf in sheep's clothing if that clothing came from Hot Topic. You know what? Looks can be deceiving. If he has White House credentials, I'm sure he brings the dignified, well-sourced positions that we expect from qualified journalists.
You've got stories of migrants grilling cats.
You know what's wild is that, like, we cover Tim Pool all the time and all his fucking lies and debunk them here on the show. That it's wild to see, like, I feel like this might be the first time a lot of Daily Show audience has ever heard of this guy. And yeah, I mean, like, if you've never been introduced to Tim Pool, it is kind of cartoonish that the guy wears a beanie like he's fucking Superman. Like, it's the only thing he has. He literally just has, I guess, rows and rows, unless it's the same one, unless he just never washes it, or the black shirts that he wears. But it's the same costume every fucking day.
And slaughtering mammals in the street. The left are like, women only get paid 73 cents on the dollar for what a man makes. But at the same time, you have this trend of ladies' nights where at bars, women get discounts when they buy drinks. So spare me, dude.
Because
wait, was that Matt? Did they source that clip from the Majority Report? I'm not entirely sure. If so, shout out to the Majority Report. You just made it onto the Daily Show.
of trans issues, we must refer to the vagina as the front hole.
Wow. What? I can't believe what my upper side holes are hearing.
I wish I had more context. I want to know what that's from. We must refer to the vagina as the front hole. Hey, baby, I was thinking of going down on your front hole tonight. What do you feel about that?
My middle face hole is agape. My back hole is clenched. Are we all caught up here on how we're doing? Well, you know what? This is just how new media talks. If you're offended by that, you're stuck in the old legacy media world and don't understand what an alpha this guy is. He's cool, tough, and you know what? The ladies love him.
We're going to end up with a generation of women who view almost all men as inadequate. I think it's crazy that I'm about to be 34 and I have no family. You know what the problem is, though? It's definitely not me. I think it's everybody else.
They found that old clip. Oh, I feel like this is like a speed run on how weird and shitty Tim is for the Daily Show audience. Where I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Such a classic.
You know, I'm gonna play this hand blind and say it's definitely you, Tim. Although
At least when he does his rebuttal, which I also have, so we can see how, you know, Tim Pool takes down Jordan Klepper, he can now say that he actually is in a relationship and has a child on the way. You know, it was one of his staff members, who I believe he'd given a pretty high position in his own company. But nonetheless, I mean, you know, eventually impregnating your own staff seems to be something that the right is really into. You know, taking it from Elon all the way down. So, congrats. You inseminated a front hole.
In fairness, I'm sure it's hard out there for guys who look like Joe Pesci's Home Alone stunt double. Fair. Okay, fine. Fine. He's not great at analyzing his love life, but that doesn't mean he isn't great at analyzing the political landscape and telling us not just what's happening, but what's going to happen next. Like the predictions he made about January.
That's gross phrasing. Oh, you must have just jumped in. That's his terminology, not mine. He was using that term. No, I don't think I'd ever say that outside of making fun of Tim Pool.
January 6th, 2 days prior.
Newsweek says exclusive threat of pro-Trump violence in Washington overshadows inauguration security plans. Oh, I just love the depravity of these news outlets. When did Trump tweet, "Go get violent," and instigate violence? Trump said, "Be there, it'll be wild." What does that even? I'm having a party, everybody, you gotta be there, it's gonna be wild. What does that mean? Does that mean we're gonna bring guns and it's gonna be violent? No, it means we're gonna have a party.
Yeah! That's right, bro! And you know what they say, it ain't a party until somebody drops a deuce at Nancy Pelosi's desk. Yeah, fine. So New Media's Tim Pool was wrong about January 6th. He's not a mind reader, even though he dresses like a street magician. Still, Tim can promise you this. He brings you the unbiased and unfiltered truth.
The news you're getting comes straight from me and straight from the source. I don't have a political agenda.
Bringing real news and not narrative to all of you.
Exactly. It's truth-to-table journalism. Immune to propaganda and outside influence. Tim Pool is an honest man who cannot be bought.
Popular far-right American influencer Tim Pool, unwittingly paid by Russian state media company RT as part of an operation to influence American politics.
Pool promoting pro-Russian narratives on a host of issues.
Whoa.
As he himself would say, and I'm sure will say later, that he was never actually told what he had to say, okay? They weren't editorializing him. He was just accepting vast amounts of money from a very dubious source. What was the name? I forgot the name of the billionaire. Either way, you know, it was of his own accord, he just wanted to randomly record a segment where he was like, "The enemy of the United States is Ukraine. The U.S. has no greater enemy than Ukraine." Wait, what? I mean, I get how, like, you know, your contemporaries are like, we shouldn't be giving them money, or we shouldn't be paying for other wars, or I don't want to give them any weapons or billions of dollars. That's one thing. But to suggest that Ukraine is the greatest enemy to the United States is absurd.
Are you saying I shouldn't trust a man who dresses like a divorced ghost hunter? What? Whoa.
Edward Gregorian, thank you.
You know what? These news reports can say whatever they want to say, but I'm sure he's not blatantly shilling for Russia.
Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. We should
What?
all funding and financing, pull out all military support, and we should apologize to Russia.
Wow.
But again, they didn't actually affect his editorializing. He just wanted to say that. That was his own feelings. It's just how he was feeling at the time.
Now that is customer service. I mean, come on, Tim, you're better than this. These allegations are true. I'm outraged. You can't be pushing Russian propaganda. It doesn't matter how much they're paying you.
A new report claims that during the 2024 campaign, Russian state media funneled $100,000 per episode to Tim Pool.
$100,000? F me in my front hole. Whoa.
That's the urethra. Also, it's still just like, it's so wild to me to try and use that as a defense. He said it so many times. He did it to Sam Cedar too, where it's just like, you didn't think it was at all sus that they were going to pay you $100,000 to take YouTube clips from a show you were already recording. So you have to do no work and just re-upload those YouTube clips to the Tenet YouTube channel. And you get $100,000. That doesn't strike you as wild. No. I mean, that's pretty much my rate. It wasn't suspicious because it's the rate that I'm normally accustomed to. So either you're lying or holy fuck, is there a lot of money in right-wing media? Because that's insane. $100,000 more than most people make in a year to just re-upload one YouTube video that you've already recorded. I mean, hey, I'm not saying don't get the bag, all right? But I am saying that had I been presented the bag, I also would have wanted to know what the bag was and where it came from so that I could say something to my audience, you know, to be like, hey, everybody, I got approached by Lauren Chen. I know she normally hates me. We normally hate each other. I don't know what she was thinking, but she's like, hey, Lance, I want to pay you to upload your content, the surf stuff. You don't have to make anything new. You just get to take your old surf videos, you re-upload them onto this thing called Tenet. Oh, okay. And I'll give you $100,000. No, you won't. Yeah, I will. No, $100,000 per episode for you to upload them. Where does the money come from? Oh, you don't need to know about that. Well, I kind of do, because, like, what, is it drugs? Is it drug money? Like, where does that kind of money come from? I've never heard of such money. Okay, here's a PDF. It shows you the billionaire funder, Edward Gregorian. He's a real billionaire, does billionaire shit. Okay, yeah, this is not a real human being. So again, where's the money coming from? And then at that point when you're like, oh, it's coming from Russia to do this, but they won't let me change anything. Well, I mean, yeah, sure. First episode back, we'd be like, hey, everybody, Russia just fucking wasted $100,000 thinking that I wouldn't talk shit about them. But I'm now going to spend the next hour talking shit about Putin. And now I'm going to get paid for it. $100,000. And then I am going to go on vacation.
All right, so what have we learned here today? We learned that Tim Pool has been compromised by Russian interests. However, the good news is I have not.
This is an iconic shot right here, though. I mean, you know, as much as I want to laugh at Tim, this means he's mainstream. You are on primetime television, sir. Tim Pool's response.
Imagine my shock. The Daily Show did a segment about me. Oh boy. Now's an opportunity to rag on The Daily Show. Now, here's the fun part. First, most of you don't even know who Jordan Klepper is. And if you do, well, you probably don't watch The Daily Show if you're watching this show. But, you know, fine, whatever. I'm going to say this before I get started. I am deeply honored to have a smear piece by The Daily Show, which just increases the Tim Pool search engine optimization.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, as funny as that segment was, it's true. It's actually a net win for Tim, because you've just been fucking prime-timed. I mean, there are now, obviously, millions more people who never knew who you were, who are just going to laugh at what a fucking ridiculous human you are. Take off the fucking beanie.
Clean up your room.
There is some weird...
Ilana, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Obsession with me. You know what, man? I live in this world where there are people talking about Q ratings and attention. Bad press is good. This is what people say all the time. I don't do that, right? What I mean to say is this is a constant conversation in PR, publicity. They talk about how many people are talking about you and are you pissing people off? And I'm like, dude, I come in here, I talk about things that I care about, but they're talking about me again. So it's not bad, but I do despise it. I hate it. I really just don't like to be involved in this stuff. But considering they want to smear me for I don't get it. Let me just say this. Of what political consequence am I for The Daily Show? Wow. I don't even get that many views.
They were just making fun of you because you're a very funny clown man. That's why. The segment wrote itself. It's like, here's a guy who's been given press credentials. He literally wears a beanie everywhere, all the time. He's only been seen 3 times without a beanie. One because someone took it off and he got so mad about that. And then the other 2 times were part of a Reddit AMA. And since then, he's never ever like shown himself without the beanie. Because again, it's like it's a profoundly strange thing. Like, do you have a bunch of beanies? Do you wear the same one? That's weird. Just, you know, but whatever. You do you. And then the rest of it is like, yeah, it is also pretty weird that as a credentialed member of the White House press corps now, who's sitting there, all you did was glaze Trump and make fun of all the other media around you, rather than use that opportunity to do what a journalist would, which is, I could ask anything, even things that I might disagree with the Trump administration on. But I guess you don't disagree with them on anything.
Views. Yo, come on. Hey, Daily Show. Go make fun of Benny Johnson. No, I'm kidding. What up, Benny? Let me play this for you. It's 6 minutes long.
I don't get the joke.
And I don't care to play I guess I should play the beginning. But I'm going to provide my commentary on the clips they bring up because I'm not wrong in any of it. Let's riffing. Here's why I highlight this. They don't know who I am. Listen, I got to be honest. I'm famous, but I'm not that famous.
Unprofessional behavior.
Wow. There's a lot of good audio clips from this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now that's a great question.
It is.
Everyone in this room sucks. Do you care to comment?
Oh, yeah. Because the idea that journalism only exists to be adversarial to politics is the stupidest thing imaginable. The idea is that news media is supposed to be, I don't know, the fourth estate. We challenge power. And what happens when the entirety of the news media is marching in lockstep? At what...
You were sitting directly across from power. You didn't challenge them at all. You backed them up and shit on everyone else. Do you not realize the call out?
Point does someone say? Why? Care to comment? My point was that Carolyn Levitt, largely, the Trump administration, allows these people and they have preferred access for some reason. Donald Trump does interviews with these people. They lie all the time. Carry on, sir.
Okay, so the Trump administration has brought in the perfect weapon. Someone who can attack the media from within the media.
White House for access to interviews, and we got approved for several interviews, notably with Sebastian Gorka, Kristi Noem, and Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. We went down, and then they said we do have an available years old. Oh wait, no, this one's like 3 years old. 73 cents on the dollar for
refer to the vagina as the front hole.
I do love that they played that clip, which, as you can tell, is from 10 years ago. Actually, I think that clip is going to be from 2018 because that's the old jersey. You can see like all the stuff I've got behind me. Man, all those old knickknacks and whatever, awards and things like that. Yes, that was a story, I believe, from 2018 where I was saying...
I'm not great on maths, but 2018 was a decade ago.
The new term for women is frontal. Now, hold on. He's laughing about it. We're in agreement on that, my dude. Woke is crazy.
Whoa! What? I can't believe what my upper side holes are hearing.
Whoa.
It's because no one actually did that, though. This is the same thing with the bonus hole discourse and all these other fucking discourses where it's like, well, apparently, according to a pamphlet that was circulated in the United Kingdom, the totality of the LGBTQ plus movement now want women to be referred to as exclusively birthing persons, and their vaginas are going to be referred to as bonus holes. Is anyone else upset about this? I know I am. I mean, you know, I was totally fine with saying, you know, trans rights are human rights and all that kind of shit, but they've taken it too far. They are trying to, I guess, erase what a woman is. Oh my God. They were right all along. We got our entry point. There it is. We got ourselves a little entry point.
Ooh, that's transphobic, bro. Wow. On top of what was already reported or opined upon. I don't consider myself to be a great thought leader for most things. I'm saying, wow, look at this story. If this is the case, high leftist liberal expectations, and in the context of being an urban liberal living in a big city.
It's definitely not me. Mm-hmm. I think it's everybody else.
And the point was, in the greater conversation, we're talking about how liberal women don't want to have families in their 20s. They want to have jobs. This is why women are appearing on the cover of magazines and saying, I'm going to freeze my eggs. They don't want to have families. So for me, in that capacity, what I was saying was the people that I had dated and been with were opting not to have families at that time. They were saying, I don't want to risk career right now.
And I was like, okay. Now, when I say everybody, obviously there's a context to this that they are removing it from, but by all means, the goal.
I've never heard him have to answer to these clips before. Look, I was just saying that, like, liberal women is what I meant. And specifically, liberal women want jobs and not families. And so it can't be me, it's all of them.
The Daily Show in this regard is not to actually address the ideas, but just to try and take away any kind of, I think the way the Democrats operate is, don't like this person, they're not cool. That's their whole game. Jordan, you are in over your head, but I appreciate it. Let's roll.
You got pissed off at that one. These aren't the Democrats. This is an entertainment program by comedians. They rip into Democrats all the time. Do you know how many segments they had on Hillary Clinton? Like, Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna play this hand.
That's a hell of a way to explain your Principal Skinner meme. Yeah, no shit. Look, it's not me. It's all the liberal women who were wrong. It's their fault.
Blind and say it's definitely you, Tim.
Well, I am married.
I knew it. Joke's on you. I married my subordinate employee and impregnated her. So, checkmate, Mr. Klepper.
And I have a child. But actually, I'm going to do this for my homeboy because he's wrong. Women, men make as much. This story has been repeated over and over and over again.
He's not debating you. He's laughing at you. Jordan just doesn't get it, all right? If he knew, like, honestly, I just need to look this up. But if he saw the stats, yeah, so women and men make the exact same amounts of money. So, Jordan, you don't get it. Yeah. All right, well, I'm glad he finally answered that clip. That's amazing.
Make a prediction about January 6th, 2 days prior? Newsweek says exclusive threat of pro-Trump violence in Washington overshadows inauguration security plans. Oh, I just love.
Yeah, I want to see his response to the RT stuff. I'm assuming it's going to be the same shit that he was telling Sam Cedar, where it's just like, I was offered a large amount of money. I didn't have to editorialize.
Back there. This was probably
Popular far-right American influencer Tim Pool unwittingly paid by Russian state media company RT as part of an operation to influence American politics.
Never happened. It's pretty wild. Let me tell you the story. The DOJ launched. Here's the understanding we have so far.
Oh, sure.
The DOJ launched an indictment. They issued an indictment against two individuals no one ever heard of, claiming that Russia was funneling money to a new media venture in Tennessee. My understanding of it right now is that they dropped the case almost immediately, as there was no evidence it was ever true. They never released any evidence. It was all conjecture. And that was the end of it. I think the reason why they came out and it was
Did you not know that Lauren Chen had to testify in front of Canadian Parliament? And that she tried to plead the fifth, even though we don't have the Constitution in Canada. Well, not the American Constitution, I should be specific there. But she was consistently like, under fear of self-incrimination, I will not be answering. I refuse to answer. There were questions about what her name was. They're like, Miss Lauren Chen, is that your name? Can you identify yourself for Parliament, please? Yeah, no. No, I would rather not. Nope. And then they're like, well, I mean, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court. It's your option. But, like, could you please address us with what your name is? Yeah, no, it's ongoing. It's still happening.
Really weak, like none of these people actually knew it was happening, was because if they tried to actually come after us directly on something they made up, then we'd have grounds to challenge their claims. Instead, as it turns out, it literally never happened. Now, I don't know where we're currently at because I'm not party to what.
Sorry, which part? Because you yourself have confirmed you took money from this company that was started by Lauren Chen, whose funding came from what is assumed to now be a Russia state-backed financier, and all of you took your payday. I mean, fucking Lauren Southern and Lauren Chen have just completely stopped making content since. I think there's more to the story. Like, I know you're all playing victim, like Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, everyone else is just like, oh yeah, I was a victim, I had no idea, I was manipulated, and all this kind of shit. But like, Lauren Southern just stopped having an internet presence at all.
That case was. What I can tell you is, based on my understanding on the legal side of things, the DOJ straight up made it up.
That's my understanding. Never received money from Russia. We never had anything to do with any of this. And it appears the DOJ dropped the case almost immediately after claiming it. Really fucking weird, right? What more can be said?
Well, yeah, because that's just not true. Okay, let's look it up. DOJ drops tenant media case. Nothing in any news story in 2025. DOJ drops tenant. Nothing in the Wikipedia page. 2024, the U.S. charged 2 Russian media executives in a $10 million scheme to illegally fund tenant media and influence to promote Russian propaganda. The company shut down shortly afterwards. So it did happen. They've been charged. Justice Department charged 2 Russian media. Yeah, so that's the opposite of what he's saying. The Biden administration said the indictment was part of a wider effort to counter a major Russian government effort to influence the 2024 U.S. presidential election that included sanctions on 10 individuals and entities and the seizure of 32 internet domains. Unlike in 2016 and 2020, when Russia deploys armies of trolls and bots to reach Americans with dubious results, in 2024, Russia had pivoted to exploit established conservative social media influencers to reach Americans with pro-Russian messaging. Russia official Leonid Slutsky responded to the characterization as a clear example of a witch hunt, pressure on freedom of speech, and vulgar censorship. But yeah, there's nothing about it just suddenly being dropped. They got charged. It's still on. It's still in the Department of Justice official website. 2 RT employees indicted for covertly funding and directing U.S. company that published thousands of videos for the furtherance of Russian interests. Employees of the Russian state-controlled media outlet deployed nearly $10 million to publish RT-curated content, which garnered millions of views through Tennessee-based online content creator company. An indictment charging Russian nationalists, so-and-so, as well as the other, also known as Lena, and a conspiracy to violate Foreign Relations Acts and conspiracy to commit money laundering was unsealed today in the Southern District of New York. The Justice Department has charged 2 employees of RT, a Russian state media outlet, in a $10 million scheme to create and distribute U.S. content with Russian government messaging. I never thought I'd say this, but Tim Pool is lying.
Pool promoting pro-Russian narratives on a host of issues.
Whoa.
Like what?
Are you saying I shouldn't trust?
Oh, yeah, that's coming up. Actually, I'm also really curious to see what he says to this clip.
Go! Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Here we go, baby. I thank you for the opportunity every time to bring this story up, because what didn't they show you?
Okay.
They didn't show you this. Wait, hold on. CBS, where are we at? Bang. Here you go. Well, could it have been Germany seeks Ukrainian suspect in Nord Stream sabotage?
Wait, I thought he was going to show more of the context of that clip. I thought he was going to be like, but what they don't show you is the part where they cut out me saying, but obviously it would be utterly cartoonish and absurd to think that the #1 enemy of the United States happens to be Ukraine. But instead it's like, but did you know Ukraine did? Even if this is 100% true, how does this make Ukraine the biggest enemy to the United States? It's still absurd.
That the report was Ukraine sabotaged NATO's access to natural gas? Ukraine is our enemy,
Europe's.
being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. We should rescind all funding and financing, pull out all military support. What they do. And we should...
Look at his face here. He gets really upset at the booze.
And financing, pull out all military support. They do. And we should apologize to Russia.
Wow. Now that is customer service.
Are you going to answer that part too? That part's equally as silly. And you should apologize to Russia. Apologize for what? What do you, even if you think that Ukraine blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, and that in that case, Ukraine was intentionally trying to prevent perhaps, some mechanism for the war, cooling down or being possibly negotiated, and that justification was going to have to be given for the United States to start funding the Ukrainian war effort more, something to that effect. At what point does the U.S. apologize to Russia? That's the part I do not understand. Like, what?
Hey, baby, when the Ukrainians are bombing our natural gas.
Impetus, thank you for the dono. Glad you're covering this. Dim's fan faded the TDS video for exposing his ass. Still a futile effort on the groupies end. Well, yeah, obviously. If you're living in the Tim Pool beanie bubble, then there's no escaping that until, something radical happens, right?
People have said, fuck off. We voted for Donald Trump. We want the war over. And while Donald Trump was fighting to bring peace to this region, Ukraine went behind our backs. And
he's still doing it. This time for free. Like this one's on his own dime. Jesus Christ. Trump said day one, gonna end this war, totally senseless war. When I get into power, it's gonna be so over. Day one. Putin. I think he just assumed that he had a much stronger either friendship with Putin or that Putin wasn't just generally insane. And then it got to the point where it's like, oh yeah, I called him and said, stop the war. And he was like, no. And now what do I do? So now, I think he also thought that if he did the 4chan shit and Reddited Zelensky, like he brought him over and did all the stuff that people online wanted, like, a president of the United States to do. Yeah, emasculate him, put him in the cuck chair, make fun of him, get him to have to justify why we've given him so much shit, make him grateful, make him beg for our loyalty. Yeah, that'll be so based. And then, so yeah, all that happened. And then afterwards, Putin was still like, yeah. This changes nothing from me or my perspective. The show must go on.
And launched drone strikes on the Russian nuclear fleet. So how about you go shove your military-industrial complex up your ass?
You know that Trump increased the U.S. military budget, which directly funds the military-industrial complex, by more than any president before him. You are the bootlickers. All of you. If you are sucking up to a president who is just, again, pouring all your tax dollars into the military-industrial complex, you can't sit there and be like, yeah, Daily Show, fucking, yeah, love the military much?
Come on, Tim. You're better than this.
No,
These
yeah.
allegations are true.
I am. Oh my God. The ego. See, like on my end, and this is never going to happen, because just let's be fair. I mean, we got to disparage ourselves properly here. I'm nowhere near famous enough to ever even be fucking mentioned in passing on The Daily Show, let alone get my own segment. But if I did, I'd be so fucking honored that I would probably sit there and be like, oh man, that's so true. Oh, that got me. Yeah. Oh, I do fuck up words. Yeah, that is true. I wouldn't be like, lies. I am great. I'm the greatest of all time. Some call it the GOAT.
You can't be pushing Russian propaganda. It doesn't matter how much they're paying you.
They weren't.
A new report claims that during the 2024 campaign, Russian state media funneled $100,000 per episode to Tim Pool.
$100,000? Me in my front hole.
I want to pause and just give The Daily Show a shout out. They're going ham on the trans stuff.
Whoa.
So he's not going to answer that. Good deflection, though. That was actually transphobia. Lol. That was good, right? Yeah, I got him. Whew.
I'm losing my fucking mind.
All right. So what?
What is $100,000 per week? Could it be $5.2 million? Could it be that Tim Pool, with millions of subscribers, the second biggest live show in the country, can come...
Wait, did you get that right? Just off the cuff? That's an odd number to know. All right, hold on. $100,000 times 4 times 12. 4.8 million. Close, though.
Demand a rate as high as this? Why, heavens me, how much do you think Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson was getting paid at Fox News? What would I say? What would you say if you said, Timcast IRL, I think...
Sorry, so you did take the money, and it is all true. You can't have both. Either the story's made up, doesn't make any sense, or you were paid obscene amounts of money to just re-upload your YouTube videos. I know it's what you consider to be, like, your rate, and good for you. That's insane. That actually is more than mainstream TV hosts, newscasters on primetime television make as a yearly salary.
2 episodes ago, because we track the ratings, we don't have them immediately the day after. We have general ratings, like I can tell you probably have 500,000 from last night's episode. About 678,000, I think, was the final tally after a 24-hour roll. So 24 hours in the episode, 678,000, and that's about 600K key demo, which is double.
Okay, so Janine Pirro makes $3 million a year. Sandra Smith makes $3 million. Jesse Waters makes $5 million. Greg Gutfeld makes $7 million. Oh my God. That's wild. And then the highest, that is actually much higher. Brett Bayer at 20 million. That's fucking crazy. Yeah, that was
key demo viewership of the 5 on Fox. I'll take it. How much do you think that costs? Someone came to me and said, Tim, we want you to host a show once a week for us, which we will control the ads on. Non-exclusive license for distribution, blah, blah, blah. You'll control everything outside of what we broadcast. Guess what? Yeah, $5 million. The way they break it down, you know.
What have we learned here today? We learned that Tim Pool has been compromised by Russian interests. However, the good news is I have not.
I'm interested to see the response to this, too.
So here's the question I have.
You didn't find that funny? I mean, I know it's a low-hanging fruit. Prop carrot top style gag, but
wrap this long segment up. What was the point? Who am I? Okay, I guess I have a show that's double the ratings of the biggest cable TV news show.
Oh, wow. He's fucking hurt. It's because you're a clown, man. That's it. This whole thing was just because, it's for someone who doesn't know anything about you, it would be really weird to discover that one of the biggest voices on the far right is this bizarre, insecure, beanie-wearing propagandist who took hundreds of thousands of dollars from a company that turns out was funded by Russia. That's just a wild story, and it's pretty funny, and that's why they did it. It wasn't to take you down. It wasn't to give the Democrats a huge win. It wasn't to destroy the beanie empire.
But let's be real. We average about 700. We go between 700 and 800,000 per episode, which is about 700 or so in the key demo, because almost entirely our viewership is key demo. That's just IRL. The Tim Pool Daily Show, the morning show, live hour, usually gets around 200,000. Then we break it up again into 2 more, which each individually get about 150 to 200,000 views. So, doing pretty well. To be fair, though,
yeah, I mean, nothing screams security. Nothing screams that you are very happy, content, and secure with who you are than responding to a fucking low-tier prop gag with, I'm just so popular, rich, and famous, and successful. I guess that's why they would do something like this. That's the only reason they would stoop to this.
A bunch of other people who get way more traffic than I do. The #1 live show in the country, Steven Crowder. Yeah, we're #2. I guess, I don't know what his total audience is on the audio side, but bigger than us.
Clean up your room.
So I wonder, what was the point of attacking me months after I appeared at the White House? To push, once again, the Russian hoax narrative. Hey, man. Hey, Trump. I know how it must feel. But I'll say it again. The DOJ launched it and dropped it. It was fake and it never happened. I'm going to say this right now.
That's not true. Two people got charged. The ones who did it.
My understanding, based on all the legal work we were doing, they were treating me like a victim. They were saying...
No. You treated yourself like a victim. Yeah. Everyone was calling you a Russian puppet. But you were the ones who were like, oh, we just didn't know. I was a poor little victim. It was so sad for me to have to get all that money.
No, you're not party to this. You're a victim of it. And our communications result, the end thing that we learned, I'll just put it this way. There's still other people involved, so I got to wait for their statements because I don't know. Was, they actually dropped this a lot, that you're not a victim. There's actually no case. You never received money from Russia. And I was like, okay. So it was a normal American business licensing deal that I do all the time? Yep. Why are they still lying? What was the point? I don't know.
Don't let this happen to you. Go to serfscoffee.com to order the only end-to-end owned indigenous coffee company that delivers blood-free, conflict-free, and cruelty-free beans right to your door. 0% of people who drink serfscoffee.com have exploded spontaneously. By ordering right now, you get 10% off plus free shipping, and it's the best way to enjoy delicious coffee while not exploding. That's serfscoffee.com, serfscoffee.com.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This video wouldn't be at all possible without the financial support of all the people whose names you see on the screen right now. And if you want to unlock secret bonus episodes, content that we can't post anywhere else, or get the videos early before anyone else gets to see them, please go on to patreon.com/theserfs. For as little as $1, you can help support this channel and help make more videos like this possible. Our executive producers are Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, Bobby Lasers, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Garrett Sandoval, Hagbard Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Political Papi, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Richard Boehm, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Tigwig, Trav, and Words Greenwood. And also, it wouldn't be possible without all the names you see on the screen right now. Again, if you want to help produce this content, it's only made possible through the funding of our patrons. Head on down to Patreon.